The Florida Podcast Network, the voice of Florida.
This is Gerard with episode number 52 of Florida's Fresh Mix on the Florida Podcast Network, a random mix of Florida's freshest personalities. Listen in.
Hello, Fresh Mixers. Welcome back to Florida's Fresh Mix podcast, or welcome if this is your first time listening. My name is Amber, and I'm the lead content producer at the Florida Podcast Network. And with me is Gerard. He is your host. Gerard, what is up?
What is up is my spirits.
Okay.
Girl, let me tell you, I never thought we could take a subject so serious and potentially macabre and have a guest that could paint it in such an optimistic, hopeful light. And she just was dropping knowledge bombs. I learned so much about a topic that I know literally nothing about. And again, we're going to talk about cancer, guys. I'm going to tell you guys this right up front. Don't get scared. Don't run away. Don't tune out because of the word cancer. This extremely positive, and I've said it a million times in the interview, ebullient guest, Marie Caruso. She was fantastic and made me believe.
Believe big.
Believe big. That's exactly right.
Okay, guys.
Yeah.
So Gerard is talking about, as he already name dropped, Marie Caruso. She is a volunteer and a patient at Believe Big. Now, Believe Big is a nonprofit Christian organization that helps cancer patients in their overwhelming cancer journeys. By bridging the gap between conventional and complementary medicine, Believe Big has helped thousands of patients physically, emotionally, and spiritually. And Gerard, you and Marie dive into all three of those areas and then some. As you were saying earlier, Gerard, this is a very positive, educational conversation. And yes, please do not get scared by the subject matter. Trust us, you're not going to want to miss out. And you're actually going to learn about a quote unquote new medicine, a new treatment, a new therapy known as Mistletoe Therapy. Yes, like the kissy mistletoe at Christmas. It's a real plant, people.
No comment.
No comment. And I'm not even going to dive into everything that the Mistletoe Therapy encompasses. I'll let Marie take over that. But it's very fascinating, very interesting, and worth your time.
You know, we talk about mistletoe, we talk about weed, we talk about all kinds of serious topics, but in a light and fluffy way, thanks to our amazing guest. I don't want to give away too much, but she talks about personal strength. She talks about how to deal with, literally one of the most serious things you could ever deal with, which is something in your body trying to kill you, right? So, and I can't believe how her attitude made me leave the interview feeling so much better. So anyway, that's all I got to say about that.
Okay, Gerard. No, I mean, I completely agree with you. In all seriousness, Marie Caruso is a very special woman. And I just want to point out something real quick. I think it's worth mentioning. That's actually not her real name. Marie Caruso is a pseudonym. And obviously, I'm not going to tell you her real name because she wanted to keep it private. But that's actually another talking point in this discussion, all about disclosing your cancer diagnosis with others and, being vulnerable. And the more people you tell, the more opinions typically come your way. So this woman, aka Marie Caruso, has chosen to keep her identity private. All respect to her. We are more than willing to accommodate any anonymous guest. We fully understand. So yeah. And also it just really kind of proves her point. And you guys, you will hear it in the conversation. Okay, Gerard, tell the people, per usual, about your favorite organization.
Okay. All right. As our devoted Fresh Mixers already know, for the past 3 years, I've proudly served on the board of directors of Guitars Over Guns. GoGo is an incredibly impactful nonprofit organization that offers students from disadvantaged communities in Miami, Chicago, and Los Angeles a powerful combination of music education and strong mentoring relationships with professional musicians to help them overcome hardship, find their voice, and reach their potential as tomorrow's leaders. Please head to the show notes for more information and, most importantly, to donate. And guess what? I just got amazing news today, Amber. Say, what is it, Gerard?
What is it, Gerard? Oh my gosh. What is the amazing news? Please tell me now.
A very famous person just paid a visit at GoGo's Haven Studios in Chicago. That's a little hint, Chicago. Who is the most famous person on the planet from Chicago? Can you figure it out in 3 seconds?
Kanye West. No?
More famous than that.
Oh, you mean President Barack Obama?
Former President Barack Obama. So when I tell you that GoGo is the shiznit, I'm saying that GoGo is making such an amazing impact that the former president spent time at our Haven recording studio learning what these kids are doing, and I couldn't be prouder.
Wow, that's actually super cool. I did not know this until just now. That's awesome.
It was a surprise.
Guys, go donate right now. You have to. Come on, you have to now.
Hey, look, if the former president's going to donate his time, you can donate a dime.
Okay. I like it. One more announcement, guys. Please, if you're enjoying the show, give us a 5-star review on Apple Podcast. It does this thing to the algorithm. I don't really know, but it basically allows more Floridians to see this show on their feed. And that's exactly what we want. We want your fellow Floridians to enjoy in these conversations with you, with us. So yeah, we would really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay. Now we've hyped it up. It's time to listen to Gerard's conversation with Miss Marie Caruso.
Hello, Fresh Mixers. Listen, today we have a very, very special guest to share some very specific, meaningful, and personal insights. I have with me Marie Caruso, who is a volunteer for a wonderful organization called Believe Big, which is a nonprofit organization that has been in existence since 2011. And they help thousands of patients move through the overwhelming process of their cancer experience. So this is serious stuff, guys. And we've got a wonderful, wonderful person to talk us through the positivity of what Believe Big does as an organization, and to share her own personal thoughts and story as well. How are you today, Marie?
Well, good morning, and thank you so much for the invitation to speak with your program.
Oh, it's my pleasure. You sound so buoyant. I love it. It's great to hear you.
It is the Florida sunshine. When you wake up in the morning and you look at the blue sky and the sun greets you, it just changes your outlook.
I'm telling you, when I have friends that live up north and they complain, and I say, listen, you make choices in life, and I choose to live in Florida because I've lived in the cold, and it's so wonderful to just wake up in the morning and those sunbeams come in. It's a beautiful thing. And you're in Bonita Springs, and I have to admit, I did not have time to look it up on a map. Where's Bonita Springs, Marie?
Bonita Springs is located on the west coast between Fort Myers and Naples, Florida.
Okay, but you're originally from Baltimore, correct?
That is correct.
So how long have you been in Florida, and what brought you here?
Well, I started what we call the Florida creep. I came down to visit my high school friends and my grade school friends who are down here now. And I kept adding a month in the wintertime to the point where I finally was able to partially retire. So I worked 2 weeks in the winter, flew down here for 2 weeks, then did that process for the whole wintertime. And a point came in my life where I said, all right, it's time. This summer, I did become a Florida resident. So that was incredibly interesting timing since I was down here with Hurricane Ian which is a whole nother story.
Right.
But I had my full introduction to what life in Florida is like. So now I'm not afraid of it. I'm not fearful of the hurricane anymore. It certainly was an experience, and it still is, but it's livable.
Yes, I've lived in Florida basically my whole life, and I've been through countless hurricanes, and you do get used to it. What was that phrase? The Florida creep?
Yes, that's what we call it from up north.
I'm definitely going to use that. I'm going to steal that and use it. I love it. I think it's great. Tell us a little bit about yourself. So you were a CPA by trade. Are you say you're fully retired or semi-retired now? Tell us about your professional background.
I was a CPA in the state of Maryland, and I still am per se, but I have retired my license for the state of Maryland when I did move down and took Florida residency. So I am not performing in a paid profession as a CPA, but as a volunteer profession. I do work for local churches and use my skill set in that area to help smaller businesses, but it's strictly volunteer on my part.
Well, that is the perfect segue to how we've gotten to where we are now. You are a volunteer, but you don't all volunteer only as a CPA, but you also volunteer for Believe Big. And so I want to believe big after this interview.
Okay. Well, it's a wonderful organization. I'm going to start off by just giving you their website, which is believebig.org. And the reason why I'm doing that is because their tagline is the video series that they have compiled called I Have Cancer, Now What? So it's a step-by-step process not to let fear override your original emotion of hearing that diagnosis.
I've been on the website and I thought it was extremely impressive. And I've seen the video you're referring to. And trust me, we're going to put all the links and everything to target Believe Big, whether it's social media, et cetera. We're going to put it all in the show notes. But when I was on the website, I just thought it was so well put together, and it's so structured. If you're a patient, click here, and then right there is that video that you're describing. What do I do now? And it's a step by step, and there's so many resources available. It's really wonderful, and I want to dive into all of that. But first, I want to talk about how did you end up getting connected with this organization? When did that happen, and how did that happen?
Well, I first became interested in Believe Big when I've had several breast cancer friends refer to it. Mm-hmm. So as a breast cancer active person since 2016, even though everything is still in stage 1, we want to keep it that way. That's why we are doing different modalities of constant integration of body, mind, and spirit. I became interested in Believe Big by listening to other people's stories. That's how you find out so much. Please don't be afraid to reach out to other ladies who have already been through the process and want to help you. Let them share their story. You will always pick up a bit of information that will take you to the next step where you can constantly educate yourself and learn. Because one thing I learned from Believe Big is about their food for thought webinars. Food is your medicine. And I can't encourage you enough to please research the food that you are putting into your body that is making the toxins inside of you.
First of all, we will all continue to pray for you and thank God that it hasn't progressed beyond this point. I picked up on that you were very forthright by disclosing your own diagnosis. I didn't want to do that for you.
That's okay.
And I guess I wanted to first get your perspective on, do you feel that there's a feeling amongst some patients, or have you ever had the feeling of keeping it completely to yourself? Or do you think that there's a freedom being open about it just the way that you were and just being upfront about the fact that, yes, I'm surviving this thing?
That's a very personal question. As a single person, I have a different perspective of who I discuss this with and who I do not, because family communication and family fear factors if you are married with children, are very different than someone who is single. So I want to acknowledge that each person who may still be contemplating who to tell and who not to tell, please keep in mind, the more people you tell, the more opinions people will share with you. And ultimately, and with all due respect, it is your own body, your own mind, and your own spirit that is going to endure each and every one of these treatments that you choose. Mm-hmm. Not everybody else's opinion. Please listen, please learn from people, but stand up for yourself. And the end result is it's your body and your life.
I think that that is wonderful advice, because I can imagine that, you might be surrounded by countless people who love you, but they might be coming from all different types of directions. And, you can't please everybody all the time, but the only person you should be concerned about pleasing is yourself, because it's like you said, it's your body. Now, give me the broad strokes. I want to talk about Believe Big from a macro perspective and then get more into specifics. So Believe Big is described as bridging a gap between conventional and complementary medicine. What does that mean to you, and what should that mean to me?
Well, the medicine is a very broad term, but we'll start off with the background, which is the mistletoe plant. The fundamental medicine by Believe Big is mistletoe. The plant is grown in the Black Forest of Germany, where it has been used to fight cancer in Germany for over 90 years.
Just to be clear, Marie, this is the same mistletoe that we talk about at Christmas time, right?
When you tell people that you were on mistletoe, that is the first joke. Well, do you still kiss under the mistletoe? And the answer is it's a medicinal plant over in the Black Forest. And that is what is being, again, used over in Germany for over 90 years. The beauty of the mistletoe is that it's complementary to our chemo that we have. However, I have been on this now for over 3 years. I have not lost my hair. I have not missed a day of being sick. I have not missed a day of exercising at the gym.
Wow.
I have complete quality of life. You would look at me and know that I am a gym rat, that I go there 7 days a week. And it doesn't interfere with anything in your lifestyle. That's why it's complementary. You can use it with radiation, and you can use it with chemo to bring down the side effects. Those are all technical questions that your patient advocate at Believe Big, who will be your advisor through the website, you'll meet a patient advocate, will go through all of that with you. But I can just tell you from my own personal experience, daily I take my mistletoe, and I have not stopped a single beat in my personal life because of it.
First of all, let's be clear to the audience. You keep using the word complementary. And so it sounds like this is safe to do along with chemo, but it's not promoted as a replacement for chemo. Am I getting that right? Or is it the patient's choice?
It's the patient's choice.
I see. Okay. So there are certain patients that decide to do only the mistletoe.
That is correct. And I am one of those.
I see. Okay. So how is the mistletoe administered to your body?
Well, I self-inject it every day into my abdomen.
I see. Okay. So you have to buy a bunch of needles and do it yourself. Okay.
Yes, that is correct. Also, if you are in a beginning or an advanced stage, the integrative practitioner may distribute a higher quantity of mistletoe through your vein. But that will be discussed with your doctor on your own individual care program.
Right. Okay. Excellent. Thanks for the clarification. So you sound great. Like I said from the beginning, you sound so buoyant and ebullient. If this is working so many wonders, what is your best guess as to why? I've never heard about this treatment before, and I'm a nerd, and I love to soak up knowledge. And so I'm, what is your best theory as to why this has not gotten more media attention or just attention in general?
Well, it has passed phase 1 clinical trials in Johns Hopkins.
Okay.
And that report has already been written. That is a milestone. because now you're getting validity.
Right.
And you're getting validity from a top name hospital.
Yes, I mean I've heard of John Hopkins. I think a lot of people have. It's somewhat
Right.
it's somewhat notorious for good reasons. So do you have any idea of what the next steps are, or how optimistic are you about this kind of moving quickly through the system?
Well, quickly is a definitive word. That doesn't quite happen in that process, but we are going to move towards phase 2. And all of those steps will take place as long as it keeps going forward in the process. It will then allow the mistletoe to be covered by commercial insurance, so more people will be able to have the option. Right now, it's very affordable.
Wow.
And I'm going to use the word very multiple times, affordable as a medicine for your personal health. They will also explain to you grants are available at Believe Big. But again, your patient advocate will take over all those details in providing the next steps for you. All I want to do is bring the name out to pass along additional information and another option. Please research your options before making any decisions what you do. Don't let fear and emotion cause you to make a decision that you're going to regret.
That should go with basically almost anything in life, but specifically this is your health, and nothing's more important than that. What's the process of getting a patient advocate? How soon does that happen? Occur in the process, and what does a patient advocate do for you? I'm very curious about the role of the patient advocate.
Oh, actually, they're a wonderful resource. They will point you to PDF educations, video podcasts to help you make decisions. Your unity of body, mind, and spirit is so important as to what you put in your body and what you remove as using food as your medicine. A patient advocate will also recommend an integrative practitioner in your area. On the website by the states, we'll be listing all your integrative practitioners. So you will need a referral from a Believe Big advocate to go to one of the patient advocates. To go to one of the integrative practitioners. And there's also a process to ask for a grant to pay for the cost of the integrative practitioner. And there's also a grant that's available for a food nutritionist. So they will go through all that with you. They will also enroll you in a prayer program if you would like. There are Believe Big mugs that they will mail to your house with a list of I will not be feared with Bible quotes on them.
Mm-hmm.
But the most important part is please just reach out to a patient advocate. They will take your concerns. They will talk to you, and you'll have a voice in order to have the next options in your head for research.
How quickly, if you contact Believe Big and you ask for a patient advocate, how quickly can you get one generally?
Oh, generally within 48 hours.
Oh, wow.
The most 72 hours. They will respond to you immediately. I've had my patient advocate emailing me at all kind of hours in the evening where I felt bad actually communicating with her because I knew it was way past dinner time. But they do. They're there to serve you. They're there to help, and they're there to educate you. And they will pray with you. So please don't be afraid to ask for prayer.
Right. I wanted to talk about the spiritual aspect in a little bit. Now, Believe Big is a nonprofit. So am I to glean? I mean, you mentioned that the medicine itself, the mistletoe, is very, I'll keep saying it, very affordable. But aside from that, being that Believe Big is a nonprofit, am I to assume that all of these services, the patient advocate and all these other things, and you talked about applying for grants, are all these services offered by the nonprofit to the patient for free?
Yes, that is correct. The only thing you will be paying for is your mistletoe. And then, of course, when you go to the integrative practitioner, you'll be paying for their service and the treatments there.
That's fantastic. So you hear that, folks. So just to repeat, whether you or someone you love could benefit from the services at Believe Big, it's all for free. Okay, so check them out. And I was fascinated by all of the amazing comprehensive resources that Believe Big offers. I noticed that their podcast has about 50 episodes so far on a wide range of meaningful topics. And they've also got webinars, they've got support groups. Can you tell me a little bit more about all of the range of services offered to the patients?
Well, we'll start with podcast. Ivelisse Page, who is the founder of Believe Big, has a weekly podcast for information. A lot of it will be nutrition. A lot of it will be different and new interactive treatments, as laser treatment was just a podcast 2 weeks ago. So there are other options that are available to add to your repertoire to reduce inflammation in your body, to make your body stronger if you've had any types of surgery or any types of radiation treatment. So please look at that. They are listed there and they're there for your benefit. Another way to have more resources for your education.
Fantastic. And you mentioned the importance of food earlier. Does Believe Big have an overarching nutrition philosophy that could be summed up in any kind of way?
Yes, there are also podcasts that you can sign up for called Food for Thought. They have webinars. And then, of course, if you miss the live webinar, it's always available at your convenience. But that will show you, again, reducing the sugar, eliminating alcohol, those type of things of what you need to do to bring down the inflammation in your body so that the cancer will not metastasize and spread.
Excellent. Excellent. Let's get into I understand that Believe Big is a Christian organization. How, in your opinion, has religion informed Believe Big's mission and its approach to helping fulfill that mission?
I think the first word that comes to my mind is forgiveness.
Mm.
We've all grown up with, per se, Catholic guilt, and just using that as a reference. But we need to forgive our past. You cannot change it. It's what brought you to where you are now. If you don't accept the word, let it go. And I'll tell you, I sing the Beatles song all the time, Let It Be. And that is my motto song for anything. If I'm driving down the road and the driver cuts me off, just let it be. Find yourself a song. But you have to come up with a way not to let everyday meaningless life drama get into your heart and your mind, because it's going to not allow you to heal and move forward.
Well, with Florida drivers, that takes a lot of restraint to to let it be. So God bless you for that. I'll tell you. So what exactly is your role at Believe Big? I know that you volunteer there, but tell us more about your own personal experience there, both as a volunteer and as a participant.
Well, actually, as a volunteer, I volunteer for administration. So I volunteer at the headquarters in what's called Hunt Valley, Maryland. And I'll go there once a week and I'll put together resource pamphlets that will be mailed to you that your patient advocate will request on your behalf. And I'll do inventory for our store supplies and for our stock room that we have. So I'll do accounting type inventory for them to stay, as we have a store that is online. So if you you'll see apparel, you'll be able to buy t-shirts or things of that nature. So I'll take care of the inventory for those items. But whatever administration needs me to do when I come in for the week, I am just part of being a part of it. And that's how you learn.
Fantastic. And how long have you been with them?
Close to 2 to 3 years.
I see. Okay. So what was your motivation in sharing your story with us, which I'm very happy about?
My primary motivation is for people to recognize that there are other options besides what your traditional oncologist is saying. Please go and do your own research. There are organizations out there that will help you. There are plenty of nonprofit cancer organizations, but Believe Big is very integrative in their combination of hope, help, and healing. So they combine all the aspects, again, of body, mind, and spirit. You just can't go in for cancer, expect to have 52 radiation treatments, and it's just going to magically disappear. That's not how the body works. You have to be a participant in your own healing. You have to be very motivated to ask questions to your doctor. And it's okay to get fired by your doctors. I have been fired by my oncologist.
What does that mean?
That means they don't take you as a patient anymore because you didn't follow what their protocol was for you.
Oh,
and
wow.
It's okay. There is more integrative practitioners moving forward in that area. So again, it goes back to listen to your intuition. We have it. If something that your doctor is telling you is not what you want to do, where you know that you're going to be sick 24 hours a day, think about it. Ask if there's another alternative. Is there an option? Is there something that you can combine together in synergy? Your body works in synergy, and don't be afraid to use that.
Well, I love what you just said about it's okay to get fired by your doctor, and it makes me think because that's something that I would have never thought about. And we put doctors, I mean, for good reason, but we put doctors on pedestals,
Sure.
and because they know more than we do generally. But I think about it. You're making me think about, as an analogy, kind of a boxer and his trainer, right? The trainer might know more about boxing generally than the boxer, but you have to have the same philosophy, a synergistic relationship with each other as individuals to maximize your performance, right? So I think that is fantastic advice. Does that? Am I warm?
You're very warm, and I'm going to add one other word: is you have to create your own team. You have to surround yourself with team members who can bring in a specialty from different areas. Again, nutrition would be one of them. The other one may be alternative, like lymphatic drainage if you have breast cancer. As we know, lymphatics play a huge account in lymphedema. Lymphatic drainage is a specialty. Other areas to combine.
I'm sorry, Marie. Now I might be a nerd and I might be pretty smart, but I did not understand anything you just said. So for my audience, because I'm trying to make sure that they understand as well. So can you help break it down in simpler terms?
Yes, and I do apologize.
No worries.
My first thought would be, let's talk about inflammation. Inflammation is one of the root causes for cancer.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever you can do in your body to bring down inflammation, and we know the number one of that is going to be stress. So it's going to be very hard for someone who has a cancer diagnosis not to be stressed. So you're going to have to seek other alternatives to help your body settle down. And they may be acupuncture for you. They may be meditation for you. They may be going to a yoga class. So those are ways to allow yourself to have designated times where your mind is not thinking about the cancer all the time. Your mind can be your worst enemy.
Right. As with many things in life. Marie, this has been so helpful and enlightening and inspiring. I want to give you a phrase and have you tell me what that phrase means to you. Okay?
Okay.
Living well with cancer. What does that mean to you?
Actually, it was a program at an acupuncture place in Maryland. That was their tagline, Living Well with Cancer. I was part of that program for acupuncture.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize there was a program associated with the phrase. Okay.
It actually was a program at a particular acupuncture facility. And again, that's what it was. They were also integrative. They had herbs. There was a whole program on certain herbs that you take in order to bring down the inflammation in your body. It's all about keeping yourself calm so the cancer doesn't run rampant.
Okay. Now you mentioned herbs. This is a family friendly show, but I have to ask the question, even if we have to cut it out later. Have you seen any role in marijuana usage as far as treatment, not treatment of the causes of cancer, but in kind of dealing with it or making it less painful, less to decrease the suffering, et cetera?
Yes, I have several friends down here in Florida who are in stage 4 of their cancer journey.
Oh wow.
And they are using medical marijuana to help with the side effects of their treatments and also to stimulate them to want to eat.
Ah, I see. Okay. Okay. Interesting. So I want to ask you a 4-part question, and we'll take it one by one. But I'm gonna purposefully let you know what the 4 parts are right now, and then we'll just take them one by one. So I'd like to know what your current status is with respect to 4 things. Number 1 would be health. Number 2 would be frustration. Number 3 would be happiness, and number 4 would be life. So starting off with health.
You are responsible for your health. That means you have to recognize that what happens in your body is you have to be your own patient. You have to be your own patient advocate. You have to stand up for what you believe in, and you have to take action for your body for exercise. You cannot sit in front of a TV all day long and expect not to have health problems.
Now, what is your current status as far as frustration, for lack of a better word? Do you have any frustration at the moment?
Yes. I'm not saying that I'm a frustrated person, but to stop my frustration, I've had to turn off the TV. As a matter of fact, I don't even have one.
Oh, wow. So that probably puts you in the 1,000th of 1% of all
Yes.
Americans.
Yes. And anything that's happening on the TV, you cannot control.
I hear you. So how do you entertain yourself? Rather than the TV, as something else. You say that you exercise, which is great. I do the same. But what do you do? To entertain yourself, for hobbies, etc., to replace the boob tube?
Well, I never was much of a TV person except for watching Jeopardy. So I do belong to 2 different trivia teams, which
Oh,
are
nice.
fantastic social resources down here on this side of Florida. You could go to a open trivia event every night of the week if you wanted to.
Oh, that's fantastic. I love trivia.
Yes, and that allows you to make teammates, to have bonds with people, to be united in keeping your brain active. Actually, my job for one of my trivia teams is we have a category called Today in History. So I research at the library what happened today in history. I have my little notebook, and we discuss that as a team before the trivia starts. So we all contribute with a different skill set.
That's fantastic. And would you just on a related note, do you consider Believe Big to foster? Does it make it easier to foster a sense of family? I know that there's support groups, etc. I mean, so how readily does being a part of Believe Big make it easier to make friends and have a sense of community, etc., etc.?
It is a sense of community. I still, even though I'm in Florida right now and I will be back in Maryland, the administration team at the headquarters sends me emails and messages just randomly let me know that they're thinking about me and they're praying for me. That means a lot.
Mm-hmm. Fantastic. Okay. Third part. What is Marie Caruso's current status? I could predict what you're going to say, but I'd love to hear from you. What is your current status with respect to happiness?
Happiness is another thing you are responsible for. We know what makes each one of us happy. And it may be for somebody completely different than for me, but being down here, living on the Gulf of Mexico, walking the beach, it is a joy for me to be able to have the privilege and the gratitude that I have walking the beach. I'm surrounded by a wonderful group of friends. You need friends, and you need to have positive energy friends too.
Yes.
Keep that in mind.
That is so important. I always tell people, I don't want any negativity around me. I don't care who it is. It's so important. And the other thing is I can relate. I'm literally a 15, 20-minute walk from the ocean. And it's amazing how something so simple can make you so happy, just putting your toes in the water. And you can't put a price on that. It's wonderful. So I definitely feel you on that. And the last part is, which is somewhat similar to the happiness question. What is Marie's current status with respect to life?
Life doesn't go along with the grand plan that you think it's going to.
Amen.
There's always going to be storms in life. Either you are beginning one, you're going through one, or you're ending one. Living down here in the aftermath of Eon has taught me of what one day of devastation can do to your complete security of life.
That is so true. And I've seen it over and over again. And it's also, you can never predict what life's going to throw at you, and you can't control that all the time, but you can control how you react to it.
That is true. And it certainly helps to be surrounded by a community with positive energy and your church family.
Exactly. Wonderful. Wonderful. This has been fantastic, Marie. I really appreciate your perspectives. But before you go, I wanted to ask you a Florida-based question. Where is your favorite place to go in Florida?
I have to say the beach.
And any beach? Do you any favorites? If excluding the beach where you are?
Fort Myers Beach was my actual Sunday routine with my friends. It was called Sunday Fun Day at the beach. That's very different nowadays. We are adjusting to the fact that the only thing you can have at the beach right now are the food trailers that some people have put up and a spotter pot. But it's more importantly that we gather together as a group as we do on Sundays. We play games like bocce ball and frisbee and football and games really help you remove the whole week that you just had and focus on, I have one day with my friends playing games at the beach. It changes your whole attitude when you go home at night. You just sleep.
Yeah, you just perked up just talking about it.
I did, because I know Sunday Fun Day is coming up.
That's fantastic. Well, I used to have a Sunday Fun Day here in Miami Beach years ago, but that was, I think, a little bit different. Probably a lot less exercise and a lot more alcohol. So it's a lot different. I can imagine. But that sounds great. You sound so active. You sound so, like I said, I don't use this word very often, but you just sound so ebullient. And it's great to hear. You've perked me up as well. I can't wait to work out today. Let us know. We've got to get people to know how to find Believe Big. We've got the website. I'm assuming they've got some social media. Marie, how can we find out more about Believe Big on social media?
Well, we do have the Facebook page. We are on Instagram. So whatever platform that you are comfortable with, we're there for you.
Fantastic. We appreciate it. And like I said, we'll include all of those links in the show notes. Thank you so much. I feel so blessed to have had this interview with you. I've learned so much, and there's so much more to learn. And if you would like to learn, I suggest going straight to the source. Go to Believe Big. And thank you so much for speaking for yourself, and also, giving such a personal, honest reference for this broader issue that so many families and so many individuals are struggling with. But there are ways to make it less of a struggle. And I think you've given us a beautiful window into how to make that happen. And so I just wanted to thank you so much for being here. It has truly been an honor, Marie.
It's been an honor for me also. And thank you so much for your invitation. And if I can just reach one person, then our mission has been completed today.
So, Fresh Mixers, now you can see what we meant when we said that this was going to be a very optimistic way to talk about a very difficult and usually, for lack of a better term, a depressing, macabre subject. But that's not what Marie delivered. She delivered hope. And she delivered a lot of great advice, great instruction. Number one that stood out to me was stand up for yourself. It's your body and it's your struggle. Although I doubt that she would call it a struggle, I would say it's your experience, right? And so you can pick and choose who you share that with because, people love you and people that love you want to help you. And if you tell a ton of people that love you, that want to help you, you'll get a ton of opinions. And that could be a lot more frustrating and, quite frankly, annoying than you want to deal with because you can't make everyone happy all the time that loves you. And you've got enough on your plate, right? So you've got to make the best decisions for yourself, even if it means not telling people who love you and are well-meaning, right? It's your health. And I loved when she said it's okay to get fired by your oncologist. I thought that was fire. No pun intended. I thought that was amazing. When it comes to your health, the relationship between you and your doctor should be a partnership, okay? I always have a phrase that I use. This is time for you to go into selfish mode, okay? Now, selfish has a negative connotation. So in this case, I would say go into self-preservation mode. It's your health. It's your health. You have to preserve your health. So do whatever it takes. And don't take offense if you and your doctor disagree and he ultimately fires you. You saw Marie's reaction to that. She didn't give well, you know what I was about to say. All right. And I have to say that the interview happened the way it did. It was completely organic and it was based on her positivity and the reality of what she's saying about how realistic it is. If you believe big, you reach out to the organization. There are resources out there, and there are also resources within yourself. I mean, she talked about how she's never missed a day of her workout regimen since being diagnosed. She's just got such a hopeful nature and an enthusiasm for this organization in particular. And I think that's based on her experience. So this might be we don't tend to do commercials for organizations on this podcast, but this is damn near an endorsement. Okay, at least to check it out, right? And the last thing that she left me with was just let it be. Whatever it is that's ailing you, figure out a way to let it be or to get past it or to extricate it from your life, whether it's through religion or playing games on a Sunday fun day, like she mentioned, her Sunday fun days on the beach with her friends. It's something that she can look to weekly to just forget about it all. It could be a hobby. It could be yoga. It could be meditation. Whatever it is that you need to do, find a way to take your mind off of your cancer diagnosis and anything else extraneous that ails you. Some might say it's easier said than done, but you know what? Just do it. And that is my fresh take. So much to pull from that interview. I thank Marie so much for sharing her views and reconfiguring in my mind what a cancer diagnosis might actually mean for somebody and their own hope for the future. Oh, God bless her. Take care, guys. I look forward to having you tune in to the next episode of the Fresh Mix Podcast. For details and show notes about today's show and our guests, go to freshmixpodcast.com. The Florida Podcast Network has a closed Facebook group exclusively for superfans of their shows. Just search for FPN Insiders on Facebook to leave us comments, get early scoops, contests, and other special treats. Or you can just complain about how Florida, I don't know.
Oh, you know what, Gerard? I'm just going to step in real quick and just give a personal complaint about Florida. I just feel like I have to get this off my chest. I'm sick and tired of the drivers, Gerard. They suck so much. And I'm being nice by saying that. There's other words I could use right now. Mm-hmm. But come on, people. use your blinkers. That is why they are part of the car.
Yep.
Please pay attention to what you're doing. Stop looking at your phone. And when you turn, if you're going to turn right into like a plaza or a restaurant or a parking lot, whatever, don't turn at the speed of a snail. Do you know how dangerous that is for the people behind you? Just be responsible and do better on the road for my sake, for your sake, for the sake of every Floridian on the road. Get better. That's it.
I agree. And we're not even talking about how some people shouldn't even be on the road. We know how Florida is like such a retirement mecca, you know. I'm not an ageist, but some people shouldn't be on the road at all.
If you're over the age of 90, get off the road. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not ageist, but if you're over the age of 90, please get off the road.
Get to stepping. Literally.
Yes, go walk. Stop driving.
Anyways, be sure to visit all the great shows on the Florida Podcast Network. You can find them at floridapodcastnetwork.com. Keep catching Who's Fresh in the Florida Mix with Florida's Fresh Mix podcast.
Flintstone Media has been building brands through the power of podcasting since 2014, serving as an award-winning and highly resourceful podcast production house and consultancy firm. Work with producer Jemmy, a leader in the podcast industry, and add a new podcast to your brand's content offerings. From show development and setup through recording and distribution, producer Jemmy and her team will lend their experience launching dozens of successful podcasts and producing thousands of episodes, making creating your show a simple and easy turnkey process for you. Visit flintstonemedia.com for podcast samples. That's flintstonemedia.com.